A very good morning to all of you. Respected Dean Sir, also President of IIC, Professor Pankaj Madan, Vice President of IIC, Dr. Vipul Sharma, Convener of IIC, Dr. Mayank Agarwal, Mentor of IPR Cell, Dr. Sunil Pawar, all faculty members, speakers of Sagacious IP, Gurugram, and all participants. I, on behalf of Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Gurukul Kangri University, Haridwar, welcome you all. Today we are going to organize a webinar on intellectual property rights. The theme of the webinar is intellectual property rights and IP management for startup. The resource person of the webinar are Ms. Richa Chaudhary, Project Manager, Patent Drafting and Prosecution, and Mr. Akash, Senior Associate, Trademark Filing and Prosecution from Sagacious IP Limited, Gurugram. Now I would like to invite our respected Dean Sir and President of IIC to say some blessing words. Dean Sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Shobhit Srivastava. On behalf of Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Gurukul Kangri Vishwavidyalaya, I heartily welcome the speakers, Ms. Richa Chaudhary, who is Project Manager, Patent Drafting and Prosecution, Sagacious IP Limited, Gurgaon, and Mr. Akash Dudwa, Senior Associate with this company, for deliberation and enlightening our teachers as well as students who are the future of this country. This university has a great history of more than 118 years. And recently, the initiative what Government of India, Ministry of Education has taken to establish IIC, in which this Faculty of Engineering has been selected to be one of the IIC in Northern India, and in which we have the 4 domains, in which one of the domain is IPR, and Dr. Srivastava is heading this domain. I congratulate Dr. Srivastava and his team for organizing such a wonderful program and getting such a talented speakers today on this platform. So my best wishes are with this program, and I also wish that students who are coming here to this institution from 26 countries or 26 states with a lot of aspirations to be in a good job or to be a good entrepreneur. And we all know that in the country of startups, how important this IPR is. And this protected innovation is required for a win-win situation for all. Otherwise, an anarchy will be there in which the creators of this innovation, they will get demotivated if they are not protected or their innovation is not protected, and they are not benefited, because we all know that human beings are to be motivated, and these incentives innovation is protected. So I heartily welcome the speakers, the students, the teachers of Gurukul Kangri and Faculty of Engineering and Technology to this program. So thank you so much for inviting me to this program. Over to Dr. Srivastava.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I would like to invite Mr. Vivek to introduce our speaker. Vivek, sir, please.
Respected Dean Sir, all the faculty members of FET, And our today's speaker, Miss Richa Chaudhary ma'am, and Mr. Akash Rudhwani. And my all dear students,
Your voice is not clear.
Today's webinar. Now I'm going to introduce Richa ma'am.
I think
Miss Richa Chaudhary.
two mics are on.
Is the project manager. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please continue. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Miss Richa Chaudhary is a project manager in a Saga IIT Gurgaon. She did her MSc in biomedical science
Voice is not clear,
please
sir.
check.
from University of
Vivek, just stop.
Delhi.
Vivek,
Yes,
your
sir. Yes, sir.
voice is getting echo. I think that you must check that you must not have logged in by two IDs, and you must not have speaking by two mics, or maybe the host on the host side. Two mics are on. That's why it's getting echo. Please check. Technical team, please check.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, fine. Now I'm going to introduce our both the speaker. First, I am introducing Richa ma'am. Miss Richa Chaudhary is a project manager in Sagacious IP Gurugram. She did her MSc in biomedical science from Delhi University. Then she did PG diploma in intellectual property law from Indian Law Institute. She is a registered Indian patent agent. She has a vast experience in patent searching, drafting, prosecution, and opposition. Now, our second speaker is Mr. Akash Dudwa. He is a senior associate with Sagacious IP Gurgaon. Mr. Akash sir is dealing in trademark filing and prosecution work. Akash sir did his graduate from NMIMS School of Law, Mumbai in intellectual property rights. He is experienced in handling prosecution work for clients spanning across diverse sectors. He majorly deals with the trademarks prosecution, trademark oppositions, copyright prosecutions, and renders opinions to Indian and foreign clients. Welcome you, sir. Now I would like to invite Ms. Richa Chaudhary, ma'am, to deliver his wonderful thoughts or valuable information regarding IPRs. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, and thank you everyone for joining us today. This is a great opportunity that today me and Akash got an opportunity to speak with wonderful and intelligent mind from Gurukul Kangri University. And I know that here we have like highly professional engineers and professors, researchers to whom we are going to interact today. So without wasting any time, let's start with the session. So I would like to share my presentation, which is specifically, just let me know when presentation is visible to everyone.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So today's topic, which has already been mentioned, that it's intellectual property right law and IP management in India. So this webinar is specially designed for Gurukul Kangri University and it is organized by Sagacious IP Gurgaon. So as already introduced, my name is Richa Chaudhary. I am the project manager in Sagacious IP and I work with a team of patent drafting, filing and prosecution. I request everyone to keep their mic on mute.
Mic mute करना सब. Please mute. सर जो होस्ट है उसको रिमूव कर दीजिए सर.
Thank you. So yeah. So very first thing that I would like to start with is a basic introduction about intellectual property right? So most of us know that what is an IPR, but let's have a basic recap of maybe what is an IPR. So let's start with let's break the word intellectual property rights. What do you mean by intellect? Intellect, which means creation of mind. So once this is something which is creation of your mind, it becomes your property. You have a land, that's a property which you all know. You have the papers for it, you get registered, you get the registry for a land. Similarly, what about our thoughts on ideas which we do come across every day, and that make a difference in the world? So that becomes your intellectual property right. That's a creation of your mind, and you have the right to protect that. So this is an initiative by the government that these such creation of mind can be protected under the intellectual property right law. So, but these rights have been granted for a limited period of time. You can't have these rights for unlimited period of time. Otherwise, it will interrupt with the research and innovation that keeps on happening every day. Because monopoly can be only for a restricted period of time. Monopoly means one person who has a patent for a particular year of time cannot have the patent for unlimited period of time. Otherwise, how will the other inventors will work upon that invention? So similarly, these rights are territorial in nature. Territorial means that you have the land in particular area, so you have the rights for that particular land only. You can't intervene with the neighbor's land, right? So if you have your intellectual property right law registered in India, then you will extend your rights. The rights will be extended. You can enforce your rights only up to India. In order to expand your rights, in order to claim your rights outside the country or outside India, you will have to go for international applications. So this is a territorial right. Anyone, if you file an application in India, you can stop anyone who is trying to copy or use your invention in India. You cannot stop someone who is copying invention in the United States of America, right? You can do it if you file for a protection at the international level. So since this is a legal protection for some scientific innovations, this is a law this is like a separate law. It is covered under the Indian Patents Act 1970, and the rules which govern this law are defined under the Patents Rules 2003. So I will explain the very basic essential things which are covered in these two laws, so that what is the things which commonly a researcher and a scientist and professor they do come across, then you can link, you can take yourself to that situation, how I'm going to explain all the things. So suppose these are the types of intellectual property rights. Now think about, you are working on an invention in a lab and it's a technological invention. This invention is something, you think that this invention is very innovative. Nobody has ever thought about this. And the product is so remarkable. It's such an advanced, advantageous, or it's a very highly efficient product. So what you can do is you can think about filing a patent for that technological innovation. The term for which you will get a protection is 20 years from the date of filing your patent application. So suppose I have pasted a picture of a N95 mask. We all know this is the COVID period. Everyone is wearing N95 mask. So it's an innovative thing. It's not a normal mask. It's someone has invented it, that how that mask can prevent you from getting your COVID infection, or so this is something which was innovative at that time. And nowadays also we are getting so many modifications of this mask, and they are all covered under patent applications. Next thing is trademark. Trademark is something which is it usually defines that what is the business, what is the service. So it is like Apple logo. We all know that the moment you see an Apple logo on a laptop, or on Mac or your phone, you get to know, okay, this is manufactured by the Apple company. The moment you see it on some local phone, you get to know, oh, this is infringement, or someone else is trying to copy it. So these word, logo, symbol, or maybe it can be a sound as well. It defines a particular business or the service of a company. And the good thing is that here the trademark, it can extend till you wish, like it can extend for unlimited time period. But then the only limitation is that you have to renew it after every 10 years. Right? You have to pay a certain amount of fee after every 10 years to keep your trademark for your entire lifetime. Next is copyright. So copyright, whatever you write in a, what is your thoughts, it's your original work. You write your manuals, you write your thesis, you write your, in fact, you write your answers in your answer notebooks. Like, so that's not, it should not be copied from somewhere else, but it's your own thoughts that comes into your mind. You write a novel, so you write your research papers. So everything becomes a part of your copyright. This is an expression of your idea. It is also protected, and copyright protection is usually automatic, but it is always recommended that you go and file a copyright application to protect such literary work, or there are many things which comes under copyright. Akash will explain in detail that what copyright deals with. So the time limit for the protection of copyright is life of the author. Like till you are alive, you get the protection under copyright, and after your death, like 60 years after the death of the author, the copyright protection exists. The next thing is design. So this is a picture which I have placed. This is actually a suitcase which is designed in a manner of an animal or a beetle or whatever you say. So you can see that this is a unique design. It doesn't have any technical advantage or something, but then the way it is designed, even a bottle shape of a bottle, Coca-Cola, that is also covered under design application. So what is your aesthetic appearance, the ornamental features of an object, that is covered under design application. The time limit to protect such design of an object is 10 years, and it can be extended up to 5 years. So total 15 years of protection you can get for your design application. So the next thing, it is just for your awareness, maybe it's not very relevant, but so you must have heard about Agra ka Petha. You must have heard about Rajasthan ki Katputlis. So why they are so dominantly, like you can see them exactly in those areas only. Agra ka Petha is famous in Agra itself. You may get some products in Delhi or other states, but it is known as Agra ka Petha. So that is a geographical indication, means it is originated from that area, and it is specifically, it is designed or made in that area. And people have actually acquired the rights to produce that product in that area. So that is a geographical indication, and there are more than 300 geographical indications which have been registered in India. So just Rajasthani Katputli is just an example which I have displayed here. Similarly, the seeds, so farmers also get some right under intellectual property right law. And similarly, the circuitry elements which are present inside a semiconductor, they get covered under Semiconductor Act. The last one is something which you have never disclosed to anyone. That's your secret. Maybe it's a business secret. Anything which is kept secret becomes a trade secret. And the term is, till the time you do not disclose it. You don't have any rights. The government will not help you. It's just like Coca-Cola recipe. We all know that only 2% on earth knows what is the exact formulation of Coca-Cola. Nobody has ever replicated the taste of Coca-Cola. It's a trade secret. They have not asked for any patent, nothing. It is a secret from such a long time. So, and how they have managed to keep it as a secret, that's their secret. So yeah, so next, the very basic or very important things to remember when we talk about patent specifically, because you all are dealing in something which is very, technology. So the very first thing that I have noticed, because I am also from a research background, and nowadays I'm practicing in legal field. So the things which I have always noticed, that people who discover something new, they are very excited to display it somewhere, in some conference, or maybe they will just, initially they will go to publish that work in some article, in some journal. That's a mistake. You should first think about going for a IP registration. Then you should disclose it anywhere in the world to anyone. Right? So do not display or publish your invention without thinking. If it is a very innovative work and you think you have done a remarkable work in your invention, then first think about going for IP filing. And most of the people who are in the research, they don't think about this. right? So we have to slightly change our thoughts when it comes to, so it has to be now, it comes with a mixture of legal and scientific knowledge. Next thing is keeping a record. So why I'm saying keeping a record, your notebooks, it plays a very important role when you are working in the labs, or when you are, thinking you design a protocol to conduct any experiment. That becomes very important while you are going for a IP filing, because what happens that when your application gets examined by your agent or your attorney or your lawyer, or even if when it gets examined by the patent office, they may ask you for a record of your technology. Like what are the exact experiments that you conducted to show that your invention is highly efficient or it has some advances. Next thing is due diligence. So since I'm saying that IP is a right, you can stop others from copying your invention. Similarly, others have also the right to stop you from copying their invention, right? For example, if you have developed a product and you start commercializing it in the market, you did not see that there are other applications that have been filed for that particular innovation. So in that case, you will be infringing or you will be copying someone else's invention. They may come and sue you or file a case against you. So due diligence means before you start filing for your application, you need to first look that, okay, there are no other patent applications that have been filed in that country for your invention or similar to your invention, right? So that is called as a due diligence. Next thing is ownership of your IP. So here I will, so since this is a university and there are multiple labs, if I'm not wrong, who are conducting different researches in their own labs, right? So suppose lab A gets or invents a very innovative product and they want to file for a patent. So definitely there are a couple of inventors who are working. Definitely there is a head of that team who are as a mentor who is working. And then there is a university where the lab is actually situated. Suppose this is the current university where you are working. So in that case, once you go and file for a patent application, whom do you think should be the owner of that intellectual property, right, or that patent application? It's just a question for the audience, that whom do you think that whether the inventors who, or the students or the PhD scholars or the researchers, they should get a patent, they should be the applicant or owner of that invention, or your mentor should be the applicant, he should have the ownership, or it's the university who should have the ownership because your lab is situated in that university, you are financially funded by that university.
सेविंग करवाना था तो ड्रीमर है हम कर देगा ड्रीमर तो
I'm getting some background noise. Yes, thank you. So just this is a random question which I have asked.
I think the student must have the right of the patent.
Who should have? Sorry.
The student, ma'am.
The student. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes,
College, because college is funding for it.
student, maybe if a student.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
One by
Thank you
one,
so much.
please.
Thank you so much. So let me have the answer. So here the applicant or the ownership of the IP will rest in the hands of the university. Why? Because your lab is there inside the university. You are working on that experiment or that innovation during the working hours of your lab, right? So here it becomes automatically becomes the property of your university. Even if suppose I develop something, so I am a member of Sagacious IP, even if I develop something, maybe a software or something which I think should get a patent, so if I will file a patent application and I know that I have worked on that application during my working hours while sitting in the office, I can't be the owner of that patent. It's Sagacious IP who's going to, I will be the inventor. So these are two separate things, who will be the owner and who are the inventors. So definitely the people who work on that invention, they will be named as the inventors. right? But the ownership will reside in the hands of the university. Got it? So the next thing is that there is a fundamental rule when you file a patent application. So let's see what is that. Suppose there are two labs. Maybe the second lab is situated somewhere else in the world, but then there are two different applicants and they file for a patent at the same time or maybe at a different time. Then who shall have the right to get a grant for that patent? Right? Like A has filed, like I'm just giving an example, that if A has been working on an invention from past 5 years, okay, and then he files for an application on 1st of January 2021. Whereas the second party, like called as B, has been working on the same invention from past 10 years. एक 5 साल के लिए, एक 10 साल के लिए. The first one is filing an application on 1st of Jan. Second one is filing an application on 2nd of January, So who should get the patent here? It's a very tricky thing because we will see that, oh, that person was working from 10 years, so he should get a patent. Why a person should get, like who's working from past 5 years, why should he get a patent? Even if he has filed on 1st. So that was a question which came in front of the patent office as well. So they came up with a fundamental rule for filing of a patent. The rule says that whosoever files the patent first he is the person who is eligible to get a grant for that patent, regardless of the date of actual invention. So it means that you have to, when you get an idea to develop any product or any process or any innovation, you should start clicking your clock that okay, now at what stage your invention is, and now you should go and file for a patent application before anyone else does. Because now you will know that what's the fundamental rule of patent. First to file. This is called as the first to file rule of patents. I hope you got the point that there are two parties and whosoever files first will get the patent. Right. So the next thing. So let's have a definition of patent. So what is a patent? Patent is nothing, just an exclusive right. Exclusive right, or we also call as monopoly right. Monopoly means like you have the right to exclude others. You can just remove others from making, using, selling, offering, importing your invention for a limited period of time. Right, so this is called, and this is granted by the central government. So you can actually enforce your rights. You can just claim your right and go to the government that, see, I have a patent for this invention, so I can make use of it for sale or import and sell this invention. Nobody else can do it. So that's the power of filing for a patent application or getting a grant, which is given to the inventors. The very important thing which you should note is that these rights are jurisdiction specific. Okay, so means that you will have your rights limited to a particular jurisdiction if you do not file for an international application. Secondly, these rights are for a limited period of time, which I have already said, and that time is 20 years only. It cannot go beyond 20 years. Once your 20 year will be over, your invention can be used by anyone in the world. It falls in the public domain, what we call is as like it falls in a public domain. Anyone can use it after 20 years of time. Then the next thing is that patent application for an invention must be filed before you disclose your invention. I think that I will also, this point is so important that I will keep on covering this last point in various slides. That you must not disclose your invention before you file for a patent. So the basic criteria for patentability or for getting a patent, so there are 3 doors which actually define these 3 criteria, and you have to pass through all these doors in order to get a patent. So the first thing is novelty. That's what I said, that novelty, if you have not disclosed it to anyone else in the world, right? So it means that your invention is novel. It's absolute novel. Nobody knows about your invention so far. Next thing, what is during annotation there is some, So next thing is, okay, can someone just change? There is something which came around annotating. Yeah, I think I managed it. Okay. So the next, requirement is non-obviousness. So what is non-obviousness? I will define it in the next slide. The third criteria is usefulness. How useful your patent application is to the world again, not just for yourself. So novelty, which is like it has never been disclosed in the public anywhere. It's absolutely novel before the date of filing of your application. Non-obviousness. Now, so non-obviousness means something which is very logical becomes very obvious. So what do you mean by, so suppose you are a mechanical engineer, there is you developed a machine and you filed for a patent application. There is another mechanical engineer and he will see your invention and he will say, oh, this is so obvious. There is nothing which is remarkably done in this product or process. So that's a skilled person, which we call in our language. That is a person skilled in that particular art, in that particular domain. So if your invention looks very obvious or very logical to that person, so it means that your invention is non-obvious or it's very obvious. So in order to get a patent, your invention has to be non-obvious. It has to be beyond the logic of any skilled person. The moment you say, oh, this is something which is very innovative, I never thought about it, and it's making such a, even a minor difference, a slight change in the percentage can also make a remarkable difference. Right? So yeah, so that's something like, suppose there is an already existing problem which is going on, like we know that we all are suffering from COVID, the pandemic, from past 1 year. Someone came up with a vaccine, someone came up with a very innovative face mask, someone came up with a very innovative sanitizing machine, so which was not already known, but it tried to overcome a particular problem and they provided a solution that was not logical. They made that, that product or a process through their logics, and it was beyond any skilled person, like beyond the thoughts of any skilled person. So that becomes non-obvious. And then it should have some industrial application, means that it can be made or used in an industrial level. Anything which you make it for your own personal use cannot fulfill the criteria of patent. It has to be for the use of the public, right? So government is giving you this exclusive right so that the public can be benefited. So next thing is, we are going through such a rigorous process of filing such a legal thing, especially for the researchers. Oh my God, there are so many laws and things to do. So what is the advantage of getting for filing a patent? So very first thing, your thoughts, your invention, your product, your process, you can stop others from copying it. It becomes your invention. So you will not be happy to see that there is someone else who has copied your invention and producing or commercializing the exact product in the market. Because you don't have a patent, you can't stop that person, right? But if you would have filed a patent application for that invention, for that product, for that process, then you have the full rights to stop that person from copying your invention or from doing anything where your consent is required. Maybe from importing, selling, offering for sale. There are so many things. It's a bundle of rights which a patent gives. So the next thing is that it gives you record and recognition. I have met people who, when they get the grant certificate, even when they file a patent application, it becomes such a, you get the different recognition in the world that, okay, you have the patent for this invention. It must have, the invention must have been very great. So people do get appreciation, and many times they get fundings when you start your own business, maybe when you become a startup or some company. Someday you'll open your company, and since you all are from a technical background, so you will automatically become famous when you have a patent application or you have a granted patent. So people start recognizing your work. So next thing is that legal enforcement of rights. So yeah, because patent is a legal law and you get the bundle of rights, so you can enforce these rights. You can stop others or maybe. So these are the three advantages which you get when you file a patent application. Similarly, the last thing, it's not just a reward and recognition to the inventors. It also encourages research and development to the entire world. Why I'm saying? Because whatever you file for a in a patent application, it is definitely something which is very remarkable or very unique or very innovative product. If once it gets published, okay, a patent application also gets published in the official gazette. So maybe there is some other person who will just go through your invention and he will also get an idea, okay, I can also, taking your invention as a base invention, he can also develop something new. I'm sure that everyone, when they are working in a lab, they refer to some existing documents and then they come up with something new. We all are not Albert Einstein or that we just innovate something. We do refer to some background knowledge, and from there we get an idea. Okay, now if I change this, if I modify this part, that part, so maybe I can develop something new. So it encourages research and development in the entire world. Anyone in the world can refer to your patent application and they can. So similarly, you also do the same thing. So these are the advantages of filing a patent application. So what are the steps that you should think before you go for filing of a patent application? Very basic thing, you should have an idea about the of developing an invention. An invention, it can be a product, it can be a technical process. Just an example, you can go and file for an application like maybe for a if I take an example of a car or maybe take an example of a mobile phone. So any part which is making a huge difference in the functionality or efficiency of a phone. So you can go for that for a patent application. Process, because I'm from life sciences domain, I'll just give an example that there are vaccines available like for COVID or any other disease, any other thing. Just for example, paracetamol is very commonly used. So there was a specific process of preparing that drug or that medicine. So that process of preparing that product is also covered under patent application. So it's not just the product that people cannot copy, it's also the process of making that product that can also be covered under a patent application. So the next thing that I'm continuously saying that your invention has to be novel. It should not be disclosed before you file for an application. Now, how will you determine that your invention is novel, that nobody else has worked upon it? So in order to find out that yes, your invention is novel, you have to conduct a prior art search. Prior art means whatever is present in the public domain. Prior means before, art means in the domain, public domain basically. So we have to conduct a search to know that, okay, something which is similar or exactly same like our invention should not be already existing in the public domain. So then you will determine, okay, my invention is now safe, it's absolutely novel because nothing else is existing in the world which is similar or exactly same like my invention. I will show that how you can conduct a prior art search as well in some of the slides. So maybe when you are not going to any experts and you have you have developed something new, so you can conduct a search on your own in the lab. So it's very easy, it's very basic. I'll just explain the successive slides. So next thing is that suppose you conducted a prior art search and you did not came across any prior art, which means that you have crossed the door of novelty. And you will also see that, okay, the obviousness part will also come. And of course, you will go for an application which has some industrial application. So you will cross all the three doors of patentability, and then you will go for drafting of a patent specification. So patent specification is basically a techno-legal document. I mean, your technology has to be explained in a legal manner. We at Sagacious, we have agents and lawyers who are who have the technology belong to the technological domain, and then we understand the invention and draft the specification in a legal manner. And then you will, once your application is drafted, your invention and everything, it gets incorporated in a document, we proceed for filing of a patent application at the Indian Patent Office. And then once you file the application, then the process starts. So the very important thing is like basic filing checklist. So there is a checklist. I mean, checklist in the sense, so some people have want me to explain in Hindi. So checklist means, so I'll keep using both the language. I'm sorry. So patent filing checklist means things, कुछ ऐसी चीजें जो आपको पैटेंट फाइल करने से पहले यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर, ठीक है, आपको याद रखना है कि ये चीजें होनी चाहिए. बिकॉज आई एम सेइंग कि वो नॉवल होना चाहिए, आपका इन्वेंशन इट हैज टू बी नॉवल एंड इट शुड नॉट बी डिस्क्लोज्ड एनीवेयर. तो उसके लिए आपको कॉन्फिडेंशियल ही रखना है ये सब कुछ. आप इसके बारे में यू कैन नॉट डिस्क्लोज इट टू एनीवन एल्स. अगर आपको डिस्क्लोज करना पड़ता है, सपोज कि आपको किसी वेंडर के पास जाना है और आपको अपनी इन्वेंशन बतानी पड़ेगी ताकि वो आपको एक डमी प्रोडक्ट बना के दे कि वेदर ये काम कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है, तो उस केस में यू कैन साइन अ नॉन डिस्क्लोजर एग्रीमेंट. वेरी इजी टू फाइंड. अगर नॉन डिस्क्लोजर एग्रीमेंट इज अ लीगल एग्रीमेंट जिसमें क्या होता है कि आपके कुछ सर्टेन स्टेटमेंट्स है, क्लॉज है, जिसके अंदर जो बंदा उसको साइन करेगा वो एक लीगल ऑब्लिगेशन में आ जाता है कि वो आपकी इन्वेंशन किसी और को डिस्क्लोज नहीं करेगा या फिर वो खुद वो पैटेंट एप्लीकेशन उस पर फाइल नहीं कर सकता. सो दिस इज समथिंग, सो यू हैव टू कीप इट कॉन्फिडेंशियल योर इन्वेंशन. अदरवाइज अगर ये नहीं हो पाता है किसी कंडीशन में, इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट वेंडर, हो सकता है कि आप कहीं मार्केट करना चाहते हो अपना प्रोडक्ट, या फिर आप किसी को लाइसेंस देना चाहते हैं, किसी को सेल करना चाहते हैं, तो आप उस केस में एक नॉन डिस्क्लोजर एग्रीमेंट जरूर साइन करेंगे. इनफैक्ट अगर आप एजेंट या फिर किसी लॉयर के साथ भी अगर आप चाहते हैं कि कोई आपकी एप्लीकेशन ड्राफ्ट करे, तो आप जिसके साथ भी, किसी भी थर्ड पार्टी के साथ अगर आप अपना इन्वेंशन जो है वो डिस्क्लोज कर रहे हैं, तो इसका मतलब है कि आपको एक नॉन डिस्क्लोजर एग्रीमेंट फाइल करना है, विच इज कॉल्ड एज एनडीए. नेक्स्ट थिंग इज कि आपको एक पैटेंटेबिलिटी सर्च या फिर प्रायर आर्ट सर्च करनी है. वो मैं अपने आगे के स्लाइड्स में दिखाऊंगी कि वो कैसे करते हैं. सो दिस इज बिकॉज पहला डोर जो था वो नॉवेल्टी का था. नॉवेल्टी एब्सोल्युटली इट हैज टू बी नॉवेल योर इन्वेंशन. सो एक पैटेंटेबिलिटी सर्च करना जरूरी होता है. आप अपने लेवल पे भी कर सकते हैं, आप चाहें तो एक्सपर्ट्स के पास भी जा सकते हैं. एक्सपर्ट्स विल बी योर लॉयर्स और योर रजिस्टर्ड इंडियन पैटेंट एजेंट्स. देन फाइनली आप, ये आपके हाथ में है कि आप जो फाइनल असिस्टेंस है वो किसी एजेंट या लॉयर या किसी भी एक्सपर्ट के पास जा सकते हैं जिन्होंने कभी ड्राफ्टिंग करी हो, जिन्होंने कभी सर्चिंग करी हो, बिकॉज इट्स अ लीगल प्रोसेस, सो इट टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ यू हैव टू know the rules of patent and then accordingly proceed for filing of an application. अच्छा, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रायर आर्ट कॉन्टिन्यूसली, कि जो पब्लिक में हो ना हो समथिंग, वो ही डिटरमाइन करता है कि आपका इन्वेंशन नॉवल है कि नहीं है. सो व्हाट इज द प्रायर आर्ट? एग्जांपल्स लाइक ऑलरेडी कोई पैटेंट एप्लीकेशन है, दैट इज योर प्रायर आर्ट. जो आपसे मिलता जुलता है पर इन द वर्ल्ड किसी ने भी फाइल किया हो, वो एक प्रायर आर्ट है. सेकेंडली, किसी बुक में वो कॉन्सेप्ट मेंशन है, सो कोई भी बुक कैन आल्सो बिकम अ प्रायर आर्ट. उसमें वही जो आपकी इन्वेंशन है वो ऑलरेडी डिस्क्लोज्ड है, वो पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्क्लोज है, ठीक है, तो वो इट बिकम्स अ प्रायर आर्ट. किसी भी जर्नल में या किसी भी ट्रेड और प्रोफेशनल जर्नल में अगर वो कहीं से डिस्क्लोज है, वो भी एक प्रायर आर्ट बन जाता है. कोई भी एडवर्टीजमेंट कैटलॉग है जो आप देखते हैं, जो कभी नेट पे आ गया, यार आपने कहीं किसी ने कोई सेल कर रहा है और आपको सड़क चलते किसी ने पकड़ा दिया और वो कुछ ऐसा ही, तो चलो ठीक है, वो तो इट्स, जब तक वो किसी वेब में नहीं आता, इंटरनेट पे नहीं आता, तब तक इट डजंट बिकम सच अ प्रॉब्लम. बट अगर कोई ऐसा कैटलॉग है जो किसी वेबसाइट पे है, और देन इट कैन बी इजीली कैप्चर्ड एंड इट बिकम्स अ प्रायर आर्ट. So there are certain government documents which are also available. So इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि government का है, so you can file a patent for that similar invention. आप वो भी एक prior art document बन सकता है. Illustrations मतलब कोई आपका concept किसी drawing में भी अगर explain हो गया, सपोज, तो वो भी एक प्रायर आर्ट बन जाता है कि अरे ये सेम मशीन का जो इलस्ट्रेशन है, जो ड्राइंग है, वो तो आपकी इन्वेंशन से मिलता जुलता है, तो वो भी एक प्रायर आर्ट बन जाता है। लेकिन अगर उसमें आपने एक भी मॉडिफिकेशन या ऐसा कुछ कर दिया है जो उसमें नहीं है, तो डेफिनेटली वो आप ओवरकम कर जाते हैं। तो बट हम जब प्रायर आर्ट सर्च करते हैं या पैटेंटेबिलिटी सर्च करते हैं, तो हम लोग ये सारी चीजों को देखते हैं कि हाँ, ये सारी चीजें प्रायर आर्ट बन सकती है। तो जब हम प्रायर आर्ट सर्च करते हैं, तो हम लोग इस चीज के लिए नोटिफाई करते हैं इन्वेंटर को, एप्लीकेंट को, कि ये रहा आपका इन्वेंशन और ये रहे उससे मिलते जुलते प्रायर आर्ट। सो उसमें डिफरेंसेस देखते हैं कि क्या क्या डिफरेंसेस हैं, और फिर हम उन डिफरेंसेस के बेसिस पे आगे बढ़ते हैं। तो इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है ये प्रायर आर्ट सर्च की? तो सबसे पहली बात कि हाँ, नॉवेल्टी डिसाइड करता है। जो प्रायर आर्ट है वो क्या है? जो कि ऑलरेडी पब्लिश डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, और अगर हमारा इन्वेंशन उसमें कवर नहीं है, तो इसका मतलब है कि माय इन्वेंशन इज एब्सोल्युटली नॉवेल, तो आई एम क्रॉसिंग दी फर्स्ट डोर ऑफ नॉवेल्टी। नेक्स्ट थिंग, इज इट सेव्स टाइम एंड मनी। मान लीजिए आपने प्रायर आर्ट सर्च नहीं करी और आपने पैटेंट एप्लीकेशन फाइल कर दिया। कल को जब पैटेंट ऑफिस एग्जामिन करेगा आपकी एप्लीकेशन को, तो उनको कोई प्रायर आर्ट मिल गया और वो बिल्कुल सिमिलर हो गया, तो आप क्या करेंगे? तो दिस इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन। तभी हम लोग बहुत चीजों को बड़े ध्यान से करना होता है, और हम इसीलिए ये अवेयरनेस देते हैं अपने रिसर्चर्स को कि ये चीज आप अपने एंड पे कीजिए, पर करिए जरूर। अगर आप किसी एक्सपर्ट के पास नहीं जा रहे हैं, पर आप ये करिए जरूर। क्यों? बिकॉज आपका आगे का टाइम और मनी बचता है। आप फाइल करेंगे, आप वो पैसे देंगे, फाइलिंग के भी एक फीस है, और उसके बाद अगर कोई प्रायर आर्ट बाद में आ जाता है, तो फिर सारी मेहनत फिर वो में चली जाती है। तो फिर इसीलिए so it saves money and time on examination and prosecution. Then avoid submitting patent application with claims that are not patentable. So कुछ और भी क्राइटेरिया होते हैं जो हमें देखने होते हैं। तो अगर आप वो क्राइटेरिया मीट नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो आपकी इन्वेंशन को वही कहेंगे कि वो पैटेंटेबल नहीं है। तो वो बहुत जल्दी फिर उसमें बड़ा मुश्किल होता है किसी चीज से ओवरकम करना, तो फिर वो रिजेक्ट हो जाती है, जो कि हम भी नहीं चाहते, ना ही इन्वेंटर चाहेगा कि उसकी सारी मेहनत चली गई। बिकॉज बड़े होप के साथ एप्लीकेशंस फाइल करी जाती हैं। वी अंडरस्टैंड दैट थिंग। सो नेक्स्ट थिंग इज कि जब आप प्रायर आर्ट सर्च करते हैं, तो आप अपने किसी एजेंट या किसी लॉयर के पास अगर किसी हेल्प के लिए जाते हैं, तो आपको भी एक आइडिया होता है कि कि मेरा इन्वेंशन किस किस पैटेंट एप्लीकेशन से मिलता जुलता है। नहीं है या नहीं है, वो शायद हो सकता है कि आपको एजेंट और आपका लॉयर जो है वो अच्छे से बता पाएगा, कि हो सकता है वो आपको लगे कि हाँ ये तो बिल्कुल वैसा ही है। पर अगर बहुत ध्यान से देखेगा एजेंट और अटॉर्नी, तो वो कहेगा कि नहीं, इसमें डिफरेंस है, और डिफरेंस है तो रिजल्ट्स भी डिफरेंट होंगे। तो वो पूरा जो एनालिसिस होता है वो फिर एक एजेंट और अटॉर्नी करता है, बिकॉज वो इसी में एक्सपर्ट है, वो काफी टाइम से इसी चीज में होते हैं। तो हो सकता है वो माइन्यूट थिंग्स हैं जो हमारे लिए नोटिसेबल होती हैं। Now it comes to the main thing that how do you conduct a prior art search? Okay, this is something जो मैं बहुत ही basic level से बता रही हूँ, ताकि आप लोग भी अगर अपने labs में, if you're doing working in a lab, you come across any invention, आप कोई ऐसा product पे काम कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कुछ कर रहे हैं, where you think, especially the mentors, that you think that you can go for a patent application and you must go for that application, then you just simply go through these patent databases. Simply, very simply, this is Google Patents. You just type on Google Patents, and just explain the entire process through with the help of Google Patent only in the next slides. Second is कि आप यूरोपियन पैटेंट डेटाबेस को भी देख सकते हैं. It is also a consortium, मतलब यहाँ पे भी सारे एप्लीकेशंस होते हैं. आपको अपने इन्वेंशन के कुछ कीवर्ड्स हैं, उनको उसमें डालना होता है. You just have to search using those keywords. So वो भी मैं बताऊंगी कि कैसे करते हैं हम लोग. So ऐसे वाइपो का है एक, वर्ल्ड इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कहते हैं, जो पूरे वर्ल्ड का इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी हैंडल कर रहा है. Then there are other two things, लेंस, फ्री पैटेंट लेंस. इंडिया स्पेसिफिक, अगर आपको इंडिया की स्पेसिफिक इन्वेंशंस देखनी है, तो ipindia.gov.in, ये यहाँ की इंडियन पैटेंट ऑफिस की एक वेबसाइट है, जहाँ पे फाइलिंग भी होती है और सर्चिंग भी होती है कि इंडिया के कौन कौन से पैटेंट एप्लीकेशंस फाइल्ड है. एक पर्टिकुलर आप जैसे आप देख सकते हैं कि आपकी खुद की यूनिवर्सिटी के कितने एप्लीकेशंस फाइल्ड हैं या किसी और यूनिवर्सिटी के कितने एप्लीकेशंस फाइल्ड हैं, आपकी जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है उससे मिलते जुलते